Okay, I'd like to call the Site Plan Review Committee to order for Tuesday, February 6, 2024. Roll call, please.
Mayor Kudowski,
Here.
Gary Paul,
Must be virtual.
online. Andy Krosky,
Here.
Dennis Persick.
Here.
Dale Quinn,
Here.
Dan Pamprin,
Here.
and Carrie Rathburn's excused.
Please stand for the pledge. I pledge Please remember our men and women throughout the world in uniform. I have no changes to the agenda. I need a motion to approve.
So made. Second.
Motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Action on the minutes from December 19th, 2023.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve those minutes. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Number 6, action items. Consider, discuss, act on a preliminary planned unit development request for a mixed-use climate-controlled self-storage facility located at 480 Pilgrim Way, parcel VA-1374-1. Aaron.
All right, thank you. Just a reminder, we do have a new microphone system. It doesn't range as far as the old ones did, so make sure you speak into it as best you can if you have any questions. In terms of the proposal, as Mary had mentioned, this is a preliminary planned unit development. And I'll just bring this up on screen.
That's yours. No.
The request is for a climate-controlled mixed-use indoor storage facility on the property. It's a vacant property on the north side of the 172 abutment at where Broadway goes underneath it. It's currently vacant. And you can see on this screen, the proposal is for the large building right here up against 172 to be the proposed climate-controlled indoor storage building. In addition to climate-controlled indoor storage, it is proposed to have a business office on the site as well as a retail space, thereby comprising the mixed-use component of it. As I mentioned, it is a preliminary PUD, so at this time, this is really informational only for site plan committee. Should the village board ultimately approve the preliminary planned unit development, at that point, a final PUD with the full packet of site plan materials will come before you for your review. So that's why at this point it's a little thin as far as the details on the specific site plan requirements, but they did provide some good detail on the proposed elevations and renderings. And just in terms of the renderings, you can see here, as proposed, this is similar type building to what you may see in a lot of locations in the southern part of the United States. This developer has done projects as well as in Milwaukee, Orlando, a couple other locations around the state. If you have any questions about it, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, what I'll do is I will just touch on some of the conditions of approval that will need to be addressed as part of the final PUD, again, should it get that far. Including submittal of a final PUD packet, submittal of a lighting plan with photometrics, screening any rooftop or ground-mounted mechanical units visible from the property boundaries or South Broadway Pilgrim Way rights-of-way. We do not require screening from 172. Of course, it's an elevated highway, it's tough to screen that. Use of fully concealed fasteners for exterior wall panels. Include additional window features and a varied roof line to break up the visual mass of the walls, similar to the Orlando, Florida example in the 2023 presentation. And I should mention that the developer did have a neighborhood meeting with the surrounding property owners just before Christmas last year to get some input, any issues, concerns they may have. We received one email in advance of the meeting in support of the project. We had one representative from Northland Cold Storage attend the in-person meeting. Had some concerns about traffic flow, things like that, but nothing really that couldn't be addressed just through the driveway access points and things like that. Couple additional ones here. Vacation of the ingress and egress easement for the benefit of Fox River Boardwalk condominium. Of course, the catch-all and meet all applicable requirements of the Ashwaubenon site plan review, all other applicable village ordinances. From engineering, submittal of a utility plan. So again, those details will come with the final PUD. New driveway curb cuts require Brown County Highway Department approval, and they've already been in contact with the Highway Department on those curb cuts, and they have a preliminary okay on them. Submittal of a detailed stormwater management plan to verify the site meets requirements for redevelopment. Submittal of an erosion control plan. Coordination with Ashwaubenon Public Safety regarding the east side building access and FDC location. From forestry, submittal of a landscaping plan to include locations and planting schedule for the site, and Bike and Ped had no comments. If you have any questions about the site, the design, the proposed use, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, as I mentioned, Brian Fisher, representing the developer, is here in the audience as well.
Okay, does anybody have any questions?
Aaron,
Yes, Gary?
Aaron. Now, the purpose of this is for okaying the PUD. Is this what it's all about?
So at this point,
Kind of,
that's right. So this is for the PUD only. The site plan materials are informational at this point for site plan review committee. The PUD, the preliminary PUD is going to Plan Commission this afternoon. And the PUD at this point is for the allowance to allow a climate-controlled, mixed-use indoor storage facility on that property. So that's what the PUD is for. At the final PUD, then we'd bring
Okay.
through the detailed site plan as well as then finalize the allowable use.
okay, understanding now. I came in late. I gotta apologize for the question. You hear me?
Yes, yep, Gary, we got you. Thank you.
Okay, very good.
So are they thinking?
All right, I understand the question. I guess my answer will have to wait till the Public Works, that will be where I'll join in on this. I'm really not in favor of this too much. It's a good project. I don't have a problem with the project, but I just don't like it on this site. If we're gonna bring this up to a vote, I think I will vote against it. So you can move on from my thought right there.
So just to be clear, site plan right now, this is informational. No action needs to be taken at site plan. Plan Commission will be taking action, making a recommendation to the village board on the use for the PUD. So just so we're clear on that.
Okay. Very good.
Okay, so I have a couple questions about this. They talked to Mansard's Flats?
Mansell Flats was notified of the neighborhood meeting, and we did not hear back from them at all.
You did not?
No.
I would really make sure somebody talks to them.
I can reach out to Mansell Flats ownership group directly.
Yeah.
Sure.
I would. The other question I would have is, you see a lot of these in Florida. You really do. I mean, some of them are very, very nice, but they're storing everything you can imagine in there. So are they gonna have the ability to put cars in there?
I guess I'll probably defer to the development group on that. Brian, if you wouldn't mind, you state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Brian Fisher. My address is W147 and 10764 Heritage Parkway, Germantown, Wisconsin. In this particular facility, no, there'll be no cars parked inside the facility.
Okay. Because you see a lot of these in Florida, and I mean, some are beautiful, they're showrooms, but I always think to myself, how are they keeping the fire marshal happy with all these vehicles in here? So this'll just be like box storage or,
Personal storage, box storage, record storage, people storing grandma's, apartment.
yeah, so you're not gonna have businesses renting space in there and operating?
There'll be no businesses operating out of there, correct?
Okay.
There might be businesses putting their.
In the
records-
retail section, there might be.
Correct. And there'll be some record storage going on.
Yeah, Yeah, I understand that, but, okay. I mean,
You know, a question I have, I'm sitting here in Florida myself right now, looking at one of these units. How do you keep people from making a home out of a piece of property like this? We've had that situation in some of these cold storage units a number of years ago. I remember a fire that had happened because of using some flammable material to keep warm in it, you know. You brought up a good question, Dan. How do you prevent flammables, people? How do you patrol all that?
Yeah, I'd be happy to answer that question. These facilities, and we put together a community outreach presentation that got into this a little bit as well, but these types of facilities, especially at this level, are heavily secured. There's security cameras everywhere, there's on-site management during regular business hours. Everybody signs an ironclad lease document when they come in, expressing what they can and cannot store. These are used all over the country. It's a tried and true lease document that's been used, and it's stood up to every possible scrutiny any attorneys ever had on it. Because again, this industry is well placed in the country. And yeah, there are security cameras that are motion censored. So if anybody's comes into this facility, they have to enter a code that immediately identifies who they are. It timestamps when they come. It knows what unit they're in. So if they don't go to their unit and they're found somewhere else in the facility and something happens, we will know immediately who was the culprit. And even if there is any kind of an alert happens on this facility, whether it's a smoke detector or if it's somebody's rattling a door, the on-site manager is wired and hooked up to this 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So there will always be an on-site manager at the ready to assist if there's something that would happen off hours.
I would imagine there's no smoking allowed inside this facility.
Correct.
so when I read this, when I started reading from the front, going towards the elevations, just reading the proposal, the first thing I thought about was the U-Haul nightmares that are going up all over, you know? And then I saw the elevations and I started putting that together with stuff I've seen in other parts of the country. The only thing I would caution the board is to make sure that the people that have put the investments, the large investments in that area are okay with it. That's one caution I would, because I'm not so sure how I would feel about that being right there in my neighborhood that I put millions of dollars in. So,
That was one of my concerns too, because this concept was actually voted 7-0 down. It was voted down on a rezone at Plan Commission. We didn't have a lot of participation in the neighborhood meeting. The one gentleman did share that he was concerned about the security of it, and then he was concerned about, he said, if I was living in the apartments or if I was in the office complex, the constant trucks in and out, in and out, in and out, he said that would concern me, so. We've worked really hard to get this site, 23 years worth of work, to get this site where it needs to be, and we gotta make sure that we get there what we need, what we want to be there, so.
And if I could make just a comment, I'm not sure if that, at the community meeting, I didn't hear that unless that was in the letter. You know, the concern that the gentleman across the street, cold storage, had was, would his trucks interfere with people coming and going from this facility? What I can tell you, what I think is a plus on this type of use is the fact that the amount of people that come and go on an hourly basis when it's in rent-up period, which it takes about the first 3 years when they get rent-up and stabilization, is about 10 cars an hour. So it is a non-use. The trucks don't come running in and out of here 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 times an hour. You might get a truck a day, and that would be like a U-Haul style truck or a Ryder truck. And I do understand U-Haul has not given the best reputation to this use, period. I mean, tangerine orange doors, you know, need I say much more? That's not what we're proposing here. Again, highly secure. I think we did a good job of explaining that at the neighborhood meeting. You know, you got a lot of new apartments coming online here, and this is the type of use that's why these are useful and popular where they are, because you do have, you know, multi-family facilities coming online here. And yes, down south in Florida, there's quite a bit of that. So, you know, the use is here, and it's a quiet, safe, attractive use that I think will be an excellent neighbor to Ashwaubenon.
Okay, well, that was just my comment when you put together your proposal. You should maybe start with the elevation of the building,
you
so you
have
don't get that. And the other thing is, if it doesn't go here, very close to that area, there's some nice, I would call areas you could go without a big hassle.
Yeah.
So if something does fall apart here, please don't give up on that area, because there's options.
Do you have certain hours during the day, or does it can go up to how late or
9 to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, usually 10 to 5 on Saturday, closed on Sunday. But we also have this is also a mixed-use development, so I can't speak to the hours of any kind of a B3 use that might go into the space. I mean, there are hours, I can't predict those hours.
So if I rented one of these units and I wanted to go there at 11:30 on Friday night, I could not go there.
If you needed to get in there at 11:30 on a Friday night, you'd have to contact the manager and get special permission to go in.
So
Any-
what do we do?
So at this point, it is just informational, making sure that you're aware of the project. And then, again, should it go through preliminary approval with Village Board, at that point, they would go back and prepare their detailed engineering drawings, utility drawings, landscape plan, photometrics, so on and so forth. We'd bring that back to you then as a complete package for site plan review.
We don't really vote.
Aaron, so what we seen as drawings right now, this is not the time to talk about them then?
If there is anything with the drawings from a site plan standpoint, again, not from a use standpoint, but from a site plan standpoint, that you say, you know what, this elevation or this treatment would be helpful, you know, I'm thinking that the developer would probably like to hear that at this point, rather than waiting until final PUD status.
Yes.
All right, the comment I got on it, I was assuming from one of the meetings we had, the entry, exit doors, the overhead doors would be facing north and south. Looking at the drawings, they're facing east and west, and I got to look at a big overhead door facing the street. The one in the back I don't care about because that's hidden. I do not like that door on the front. It ruins the face of the building. And I believe the building has been turned from the last elevation that we've seen at the last meeting also, where the building is running east and west rather than north and south.
Thanks for the comment. The bulk of the building was always running east and west, but we turned it north to kind of follow the shape of the site. So we've now just turned it into a rectangle. And yes, we do have a large all glass speed door that is facing both east and west, and the proposed plan and elevation.
I guess I don't like the big door facing the west is what I'm concerned. It ruins the look of the building, in my opinion. What's going to happen to the vacant lot to the north along Broadway?
So Gary, I can address that. So they do, on the site plan, have identified a future commercial use consistent with the B3 zoning. At this point, that is purely conceptual. Should that come forward at some point in the future, that would come through site plan review, as any other project would.
Okay.
Does anybody have any other questions, concerns? Nope. Okay, so thank you, everybody. It was an informational item, so. Thank you.
Very much.
I think there's a need for it in that area. I'm just not sure. That's the spot.
Good looking building, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, moving on. 6B, presentation regarding Village of Ashwaubenon Comprehensive Plan Update Process. Aaron?
All right. Just share my screen again. All right, there you go. We are starting the process to update the village's comprehensive plan. It was last updated in 2016. Since 2016, I took a look back and just thought I should just identify some of the changes that have taken place in the village. I'll be honest, it's pretty phenomenal when you step back and look at the changes that have taken place. Just for instance, the first two bullet points are updated from what was in your packet. We added 214 new owner-occupied residential units, added 793 new renter-occupied apartment units. Titletown was developed. Bay Park Square Mall has 3 new anchor tenants. Menards was vacated and replaced by the Bellin Ambulatory Surgical Center. Mike McCarthy Way redevelopment, including the Common Place, Odyssey Climbing and Fitness, and the Berkshire Ashwaubenon senior housing apartments, as well as workforce townhomes. The Ashwaubenon River Trail Bridge was constructed. We added over 8 miles of new sidewalk and paved trails. The vacant Schneider Truck Yard was redeveloped as Alden Station, and Capital Credit Union Park Stadium redeveloped a vacant industrial site. And that's not even counting projects like Chick-fil-A and Crumble Cookie, which generated probably the most interest out of all of them over those years. So again, it's pretty phenomenal the amount of changes that have taken place in the village. I'm pretty proud of that fact, and I think the village should be as well. But also then pushes the reason that we need to update the comp plan. So a comp plan has to be updated at least once every 10 years under state statute. So again, we're getting close to the end of the 10-year period, and with the changes that have taken place, I thought it made sense that we should dive into updating this at this point in time. In terms of the process itself, village staff will be taking care of facilitating the update of the comprehensive plan. I'll be working directly with the Planning Commission, serving as the oversight committee on the development of the plan. I did send out an RFP for comprehensive planning services. Prices came back $70,000 to $80,000 for a comp plan update. I'll be honest, I could not justify that. I've done probably 25 to 30 of these over my career, so one more won't hurt. So I'm happy to help out. So in terms of the plan itself and what it is, it's a document that provides a basis for our zoning, land division, and official mapping activities. And that's under state statute. So those decisions have to be consistent with the comprehensive plan. So it serves as a one source stop for data. A lot of times developers will look at the comprehensive plan, find out what's going on in the community, what's planned for certain areas, where is residential, commercial, industrial located, where is it planned to be, are there new transportation facilities that are planned for the next 20 years? Because the comprehensive plan is 20 years in vision, but again, in all practicality, it's about 10 years in action. Provides a discussion opportunity for new concepts in planning, zoning, community development. So there might be something that, over the past 10, 15 years has really kind of come forward as something that we should take a look at as a village. And this is an opportunity for us to hear about it, learn about it, evaluate it, and see if it makes sense for the village going forward. One item of note that is confused by a lot of people is that it is adopted by ordinance, but the comprehensive plan is not an ordinance itself. So we still have the zoning ordinance, the site plan review ordinance. Those are still ordinances that are in effect. So the Planning Commission is the overarching guide or umbrella document that helps guide those decisions in the ordinances. I mentioned it has to be updated at least once every 10 years. It does also have to have at least 9 elements as defined under state statutes, including issues and opportunities. And what that is it's basically background, demographic, economic, and housing data, as well as location for the community's goals, objectives, and policies that they want to see implemented over the next 20 years or even further in the future. Includes a land use chapter. Again, chapter and element is interchangeable here. So land use, housing, economic and community development, transportation, community services, utilities and facilities, intergovernmental coordination, natural, cultural, and agricultural resources, and implementation. Implementation meaning, so we got the plan done, what are we gonna do with it now? What are our steps to move forward to attain some of these goals, objectives, and policies from the issues and opportunities chapter? Comprehensive plans also include ample opportunities for public participation. The Citizens Participation Plan is a document that has to be adopted prior to starting a comprehensive planning process, and that was adopted by the village board at the November 2023 meeting. So it identifies the means by which the village will engage the public as best we can, including news releases, social media, village website, Ashwaubenon Planning Commission meetings, public open house meeting, formal adoption process is spelled out in state statute, a facilitated visioning session on February 19th at 4:30 p.m. in the Ashwaubenon Community Center. I want to make sure people are aware of that. That is an opportunity to meet in person in basically a small table setting and get your ideas out and find out, what do you want to see in person in the comprehensive plan? So that is the in-person opportunity to participate. There's also an online survey and mapping app that Brown County Planning developed for us. What you can do here is basically identify locations in the village, whether by point or polygon or however you want to draw it. It says, I'd like to see this area redeveloped over the next 20 years, or this would be a great location for a new park. There's also an opportunity to just put comments in there in general. The board's doing a great job, keep doing what you're doing, whatever you might think. Again, a comprehensive plan is a huge document. It's not necessarily limited to certain aspects. Of course, it's not really set up for, hey, there's a street light out on my block. Just give us a call on that, we'll handle that right away. But again, these are just bigger ideas, bigger projects, bigger themes that you as citizens want to see occur in the village over the next 20 years. So, result of that. Okay. So the process, we'll work with the Planning Commission to develop the plan in-house. The Planning Commission will assist Brown County Planning Commission will assist me with the online survey mapping, as well as facilitating the visioning session, again, on February 19th at 4:30 p.m. At the community center. We've set up tables. We'll have 6 to 8 people per table. Get your ideas up on basically a big butcher block paper. Go through it and help set up those ideas then for the framework of the comprehensive plan. So following the visioning session, the draft chapters will be brought forward to the Planning Commission for their review, input, discussion, and consideration. After review of all of the draft chapters by the Planning Commission may make a recommendation by resolution to the village board to adopt the updated comprehensive plan. There's a minimum 30-day public review period, and then we have to have a public hearing before the village board takes action on the plan, again, by ordinance, but the plan itself is not an ordinance. Estimating completion, the dates are kind of fuzzy, but usually you figure about a year-long process. Since we do have other jobs here at the village, it might take a little bit longer than a year, so we're figuring, early 2025 to get this completely wrapped up with the village board. So it's kind of hit on a lot of different items there. Any questions at all about the comprehensive plan?
So Aaron, what you were saying earlier, You're gonna work on this plan, you're not gonna hire it out, you're gonna do it. You've
That's correct.
done Before,
Yep, that's right. I'll do it, fit it in and get it done.
yeah, I think you do fine, you'll be good.
Thank you.
So Aaron, you're gonna start, the board adopted the one in 2016, you said?
That's correct.
So you'll start with that?
So much has changed in the village that it's not really feasible to just take that and update figures in there. This will be a complete rewrite.
It will. Well, good
I mean,
luck.
there's data in there that I can certainly use,
Yeah,
and I'll incorporate into the updated chapter,
yeah, the
but
history stuff.
it's a new rewrite.
Good.
Aaron took on a big job.
Hell, yeah.
Thank you. He'll do it. I know he'll do it. There's
I
not a doubt in my
I don't know
mind
how
that
he's
he'll
gonna
do
get
it,
done
but
in a year.
I thank you for doing that and I'm gonna say volunteering for it.
Happy to do it.
When it gets hectic, I'll take you out for some margaritas and get you a mind at ease.
We'll get your mind in the right direction.
Thank you.
So, okay, any questions or comments about the comp plan? Nope. That's pretty much information, correct? Just
Correct.
information only?
I do apologize for those of you who are also on planning commission and village board. You'll see it 2 more times. So
Well, that's okay. We like long meetings, right, Gare?
I think he's falling asleep.
Okay. Okay, any department reports?
we have hired a full-time code enforcement officer, assistant zoning administrator. So I thank the village board and the citizen businesses of Ashwaubenon to make that a reality. I think that'll be a real good addition to our staff. He'll be starting February 19th. So you'll be seeing him driving around in a, used to be a public safety Tahoe. So blue Tahoe with the black and white sticker on the side. He'll be very active, driving around the community, making sure things are picked up, and the community's looking good, since we'll be on the world stage here in about a little over a year.
Yeah, a little over a year. Okay. Items, are we, next agenda? Will we have a next agenda so far?
Not yet,
Not yet.
not yet. I have until 4:30 today.
Okay. Okay, so I just need a motion to adjourn, please.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. See you at the next meeting.